Hello everyone, my name is Zard and welcome back to another video. Before I get into the main topic for today, I'd like to read a passage from the Queen's Hope, page 234. They all died, thousands of them, every single one. Without their son, they could not survive. No scientist could replicate what they needed. No new world could be found for them. Without safe harbor, they went extinct. The galaxy was a poor place without them. The girl mourned. Her father wasn't sure what to say to her. But sometimes this happened. Sometimes the mission failed. He let her cry and rage and grieve, and when the initial storm that had passed, they made their way home together. She spent a lot of time in the garden by herself, watering flowers, surrounding herself with growing things and new life. Her father understood. It was important to remember, after a tragedy like the one she'd witnessed, that life persisted, even if its form was different. They didn't talk about it very much, the girl and her father. Not when the girl decided to go into politics, not when she was elected queen, not even when she left Naboo to serve the Galactic Senate. But the tragedy always loomed at the back of her decision-making. No matter how well planned or how well prepared she was, she knew that she could fail. She knew the cost could be too high to fully comprehend. She had already learned that sometimes the full weight of the galaxy was stacked against her. Padme Naburi got out of bed every single morning and tried again. There's so many LEGO minifigures, so many LEGO Star Wars minifigures, so many you know, so many you don't, but one who has so few is Queen Amidala, Senator Amidala, Padme, however you say her name. There are so few, only 4 different Padme outfits they've ever made. Queen Amidala, Senator Amidala in her armor and mission outfit, handmaiden Padme. So few outfits, and I've recently finished the Queen Amidala book trilogy and was so intrigued by the journey of Padme's journey to a queen of Naboo to a senator, and it's my hope now to walk into the LEGO store and see 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 different sets that I can pick up and see Padme Amidala, and that likely will never happen, but my hope is that maybe a sub-theme that could come along that could cover Star Wars books, not just the media of the television and the movies that we have got recently, and even getting a bit into games. I would really love to see more books. Now that could be so many different things. You could go into Thrawn, Brotherhood, Darth Plagueis, but today I'd like to focus on Queen Amidala, the wonderful Queen Amidala, and 10 sets based off the books that could become LEGO sets. So let's get started. So first, some Naboo or Theed playsets. I think those would be very cool. We really have nothing from Naboo, really nothing at all, and I think it would be very interesting to see some playsets based on Naboo. The Theed Palace would be very cool. Of course, we don't have all that much Naboo landscape, so even then you could bring in some Episode 1 stuff with the Naboo landscape and Theed, but I think some Naboo and Theed playsets would be very great that could tie into multiple movies, Episode 1, and then, of course, tie it in to the books where you could see Padme, Senator Bibble, Senator Palpatine, the Handmaidens, Typho, Panaka, whoever they choose, but I think it would be really cool to get some Naboo playsets finally after 25 years of The Phantom Menace. You scared? Of course, I know that you So next, a mini Jedi temple. I think this is the best way to get a Jedi temple, and I think it's a needed thing for the Star Wars line. I think it's a very crucial part of the prequels, and it plays a very small role in the books, specifically in Queen's Hope after Padme has married Anakin. And she goes to the Jedi Temple, not to see Anakin, but on a senatorial retreat there with a bunch of other senators. And her interaction with Palpatine in that scene is one of my favorites throughout the entire 3 books. And I'd love to see that in Lego, and I think a mini Jedi Temple is probably the best way to get that building and that architecture in Lego. So over the last few years, we've gotten a decent amount of diorama sets, and I think a very cool one would be a Queen Amidala's throne, the Queen's throne, from the Phantom Menace, as well as brought up in Queen's Peril, and sort of the design of that in Queen's Peril. One of my favorite parts of that second Padme book, the first, it's a prequel to Queen's Shadow, is sort of the design of all the outfits to make them more practical, along with the design of different things like the throne, to make them in case of some sort of attack. And I'd absolutely love to see a diorama of the Queen's throne in Lego. I think it would be a wonderful diorama set, and would be even a great promo as well. So next, another different style of set that's been brought at the forefront of LEGO's Star Wars sub-themes in the last couple years would be a midi-scale Trade Federation battleship, the main ship used for the blockade of Naboo. And I think that would be a really cool one. Another way that it's probably the only way you can really represent that in LEGO. Of course, we've gotten one little one in an advent calendar build, but that's really it. So I think getting that ship would be a very cool one. Of course, midi-scale sets don't have minifigures, but it sort of ties into both the Phantom Menace as well as Queen's Peril, just with the blockade of Naboo, the invasion of Naboo. That is such a focal point of Queen's Peril, and quite an interesting story, I think, between the handmaidens, Padme, and everyone in that story. The invasion of Naboo, I think, is very interesting, and I think that's a very good way to represent it with a midi-scale Trade Federation battleship. So another playset, I think the Gungan City from the Phantom Menace, of course seen in the Phantom Menace. A little bit less, I feel like, in Queen's Peril, but there is still the hope of uniting the Gungans and the people of Naboo. I think that's somewhat of a focal point in Queen's Peril that I would like to see something from there. Of course, that set would also bring in a cool character like Boss Nass. You get other Gungans, Jar Jar Binks, and yeah, I think it would be a very interesting set. It'd probably be better to base it sort of off the Phantom Menace, but it would still sort of, to me, have some ties to Queen's Peril. So next would be Padme and Anakin's Lake House wedding. This, I think, would be a perfect 18+ display set. I think it would be a great set to get, of course, the wedding dress for Padme, Anakin, C-3PO, R2-D2. I think it would be a great set. This happens during Queen's Hope. It's during one of the earlier chapters of the book, and it goes over, of course, in Attack of the Clones, right at the end of the movie, you see the wedding, whereas this really goes over the whole setup of that, trying to keep it away from everyone, as well as the mission that they have to go on right before the wedding. I think that would be a wonderful diorama. Next, a Senate playset, I think, would be a really cool one. I think some sort of little bit of an exterior build of the Senate, and then sort of a dollhouse style where you would have the interior different, the main chamber, and then different senatorial offices, I think would be an ideal way to do this set. Of course, for minifigures, this is sort of the one that I have the most minifigures laid out for. I think great minifigures, of course, Padme. You need Padme in there. Typho would be a new one that I think would be great. Some handmaidens, I think 2 of them would be just ideal, and there are only 2 by the time of Queen's Shadow, when you really see a lot of the Senate. Then Bail Organa is such a huge part of this story, and I really think Padme's life overall. Mon Mothma, another one that we haven't seen in a while, that I think would be a really nice figure to get in an updated form and would work perfectly in this set. Chancellor Palpatine, another one that would be really nice. And then a few other new ones. Mina Bonteri, who I think Padme has an interesting relationship in Queen's Shadow with the character, and we've never seen her in a Lego set, so I think it'd be a really nice one. And then Rush Clovis, one that I think they really missed from the Coruscant Guard gunship, that would be a wonderful addition to this set. You could add a bunch more, but I think that lineup feels pretty nice, large enough for what I would want this playset Senate to look like. So next, the Naboo Royal Starship, finally a ship for a Star Wars set. I think this would be a great one. Of course, you could get some of the different handmaidens in this set. It would be really cool to see a full silver color, probably Panaka in there, of course Padme, and some other characters as well. But it's a ship we haven't seen before, and one that I think would be really interesting. It'd be interesting to see if they go with the normal light bluish gray, or if they go with a bit of a silver one, or sort of mix them together. I think a full chrome silver version of the ship would be ideal, but I don't know how realistic that actually is. So next, a larger playset. Hebkar Minor is a planet in Queen's Hope, near sort of the middle section of the book, and Padme and Typho go on a mission where they are carrying supplies with a bunch of Wookiees, and they end up going to this planet where there's a battle currently going on between the Separatists and the Republic, and they deliver the supplies and then realize the Magistrate's family has been captured by the Separatists, so they go with a mission with the clones to try to save the Magistrate's family. So in that set, I think having the different buildings of it, of course, being a book, the things are only described to you, so it's a little bit harder to actually build the structures, and it's very much up to interpretation on how those structures would look. But I think it would be very interesting to get something like that. And then for minifigures, you'd have the Padme, the Typho, a couple clones. The clones are present in there. There you go for your clones people. Clone Sticks is the captain there, and then a few battle droids, and I think that would be a great clone and Padme playset. And next, the last set is one, I'm not a big fan of buildable objects. I've definitely made it very clear in a lot of videos I don't like them whatsoever, but this one is sort of a buildable object, but one that I think would be very interesting. And that would be a 18+ set for a Handmaiden's stained glass mural. Now, I don't know exactly how you would build that up, but I think it would be relatively easy. Maybe you even include some Handmaidens and Padme minifigures in the set. But by the end of the occupation of Naboo and the end of Queen Amidala's reign as queen, of course, she has 5 handmaidens, and those handmaidens become very prominent in so many parts of Naboo culture, in Naboo style, in so many parts of Naboo. They become very much an icon of Naboo and a symbol of Naboo, and throughout the Theed Palace you'll see glass murals of the handmaidens in their fiery red hooded outfits, and I think that would be an absolutely wonderful set to make those handmaidens as sets. I really want the handmaidens as minifigures in so many different Padme outfits, but that's 10 sets that I think would be fun sets to tie in to the 3 Padme books, The Queen's Peril, Queen's Shadow, and Queen's Hope. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed sort of making this list, going over them. I really have just really enjoyed reading these 3 books, and I've really enjoyed reading more about Padme and the Handmaidens and the entire story and a lot of the characters that I've really built more of an appreciation for, both Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I definitely recommend these 2 books to sort of give you more of an appreciation for those first 2 prequel movies. Of course, everyone really loves Revenge of the Sith, and then the first 2 sort of get put on to the back burner, but these 3 books have really given me more of an appreciation for that. So I hope you enjoyed this list. I'll have another video coming out in a few months that sort of goes over some more sets that I'd like to see that could include Padme. Now, those are just sets based off the movies. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one, which yeah, I don't know, hopefully there's more Padme. 2025, January doesn't look great for Padme, but maybe in the summer. There wasn't anything this year in his Phantom Menace. You'd think maybe at least, well, I guess there was this, which is at least something. But she wasn't even in the Maul Starfighter. So yeah, that's that. Good day.